welcome. I am Amarachi Ubani. Tonight, Senate prepares for Tuesday's screening of ministerial nominees, insisted only candidates endorsed by senators from nominees' constituencies would be cleared. House of Representatives talks tough as it opens investigation on $470 million CCTV contract. Chief of Army Staff reads the Riot Act to his men, remobilizes in Gate Dam, Yobe State, after insurgents dislodged soldiers looting the barracks. 4 Russian cruise missiles fired at Syria hit the wrong target, landing on Iran.
And on business news tonight, Barclays Bank set to review Nigeria's membership in its emerging market local currency bond index.
On sports news tonight, Vincent Enyama affirms decision to quit playing for the Super Eagles.
Major hurdle may just be ahead of ministerial nominees, as the senators have reached a consensus that at least 2 senators from the state of the nominee must endorse each appointee. And what this means is that nominees who are not in the good books of their senators must be screened on Tuesday. Spokesperson for the Chairman Ad Hoc Committee on Media and Publicity, Dino Melaye, explains that this is a resolution of the Upper House and that the Senate would also adopt other constitutional provisions and conventions for screening nominees. Our correspondent Linda Kigbe reports.
Some ministerial nominees about to exit the National Assembly. They came to submit their resumes ahead of the screening exercise next week Tuesday. But the ministerial nominees have their work cut out for them. This is because the Senate has put up a rigorous screening process. The Senate, at a closed-door meeting on Wednesday, set out the modalities that would shape the screening exercise. Reeling out the modalities to journalists after the plenary session, the Senate spokesman said the modalities revolve around 2 major areas: relevant constitutional provisions, as well as practice and convention of the Senate.
Every ministerial nominee must produce proof of compliance as required by the Constitution and the standing rules of the Senate. You must declare your assets, and we must have a certificate of proof that you have declared your assets, and you have given a certificate of proof by the Code of Conduct Bureau. And the issue of states, the Constitution is very clear in section 1473. The Constitution did not talk about adoption of a state by marriage. The Constitution is very categorical. The President shall appoint at least 1 minister from each state who shall be an indigene of such states.
And that's not all.
But we are saying, in line with our convention, minimum of 2 senators must support that candidate. And but I have not said that that is the only condition for clearance. If there are other basic conditions involved.
Earlier at plenary, the Senate President received a petition from the Southern Kaduna Coalition against Amina Mohammed, who is a ministerial nominee. The group in the petition filed against Amina Ibrahim complained that she is not an indigene of a state. They urged President Buhari in the 7-page petition to nominate a minister from her state, Gombe, and not Kaduna, her state of marriage. The Senate President directed the chairman, Senate Committee on Ethics and Public Petitions, Senator Sam Anyao, to forward reports of the committee's findings on all petitions against ministerial nominees to the Senate before Tuesday next week. Linda Kibe, Channels Television News.
However, ministerial nominees will need to scale a few hurdles before appearing before the Senate next Tuesday, one of which is appearing before the Inspector General of Police, Solomon Arase, for profiling based on President Muhammadu Buhari's directives. Reports say some of the nominees were cited at the Louis Edet House, headquarters of the Nigerian Police Force, to take part in the exercise today, and they were given a verification form to fill. Those who've already filled the form are Audu Ogbe of Benue State, Chris Ngige of Anambra State, Udoma of Akwa Ibom State, and Abubakar Malami, Kebbi State. Others are also on their way include Babatunde Fashola of Lagos. A source explains that the exercise is for the police to carry out further investigations on the nominees. An ad hoc committee of the House of Representatives is to investigate the $470 million contract for the installation of CCTV cameras in Lagos and Abuja, which was awarded in 2010. Lawmakers during a debate today said this investigation is necessary considering the security concerns confronting the country. The House also resolved to mandate all business establishments in Abuja to install CCTV cameras in their premises. Our correspondent, Lanre Lasisi, reports.
In the wake of recent bomb blasts in the Federal Capital Territory, concerns have been expressed regarding the need for government to take proactive steps to ensure perpetrators of such crimes are brought to justice. One motion which aims to address this was considered in the House of Representatives. The motion recalled that in 2010, a $470 million contract was awarded for installation of CCTVs in Abuja and Lagos, a contract that is yet to be executed.
Concerned about the dormant state of the CCTV cameras installed in Abuja by CTE Corporation, after it obtained a contract in 2010 to install the cameras in Abuja and Lagos at a cost of $470 million.
Lawmakers spoke in support of the motion.
That this is something that has come up on the floor of this House in the 7th Assembly, that was investigated, a report I believe was given, but unfortunately it appears nothing has been done. This motion and everything contained therein is really about due process and oversight.
And I appeal to my colleagues that please, this level of some kind of imperialism or economic exploitation, we must find a final solution to. If we have to pay for something, definitely we should get the value. If we are not going to get value, then there is no need to pay. So I believe that the time and hour has come for us to look at the terms of those loans that we have taken so that we can address this issue once and for all. A stitch in time saves 9. The era of exploitation has come and gone. We will never allow this anymore.
Why is it that anytime we sign contract, the people don't execute the contract, the jobs will not be done, and will come and do investigation, at the end of the day, nothing happens. I'm standing here to solicit that this one will not be like all the other ones that has happened in the past.
The motion is urging the federal, state and local governments to install CCTVs and other security gadgets across the country. The House is also to investigate the circumstances surrounding the contract.
Those in favor of the motion as severally amended, say aye. Those against it, say nay. The ayes have it.
The committee is expected to report back to the House in 4 weeks' time. Lanre Lasese, Channels Television News.
Staying with the lower chambers, the House of Representatives is also wading into the immigration recruitment tests that turned tragic in parts of Nigeria last year. The lawmakers have summoned the management of the Nigeria Immigration Service of its refusal to give effect to the federal government's promise to employ relatives of the victims of the stampede. This motion followed a protest by some of the affected persons at the National Assembly over their not being compensated a year and 6 months after the tragedy. Former President Goodluck Jonathan had offered automatic employment to 3 members of the family of each deceased applicant and all those injured in the incident, which left 45 people dead and many more injured.
The situation they are in, we all know what happened during the immigration recruitment exercise. Apparently, thereafter, the government of the day at the time had promised them to jobs in the immigration service. They had gone to the extent of actually issuing them with letters of employment, copies of which they handed over to me. And we went through it. They were authentic. But unfortunately, up until now, this is well over a year after the incident, they have been ignored. There has been nothing.
My heart is 100% with all the applicants and those people that have been issued later. But I will appeal that, guided by the principle of fair hearing, I will appeal that let me amend this motion to state that we invite the immigration authority immediately to explain the reasons behind why they have not carried out the employment, or rather respect the employment that they have issued, employment letter they have issued to these applicants, and give reasons why they should not be sanctioned or any of those kind of arrangements.
Those in favor of the motion say aye. Those against it say nay. The ayes have it. So the committee, the three-man committee, has up till Thursday next week to report to the House.
In part two, after the break, we'll be looking at how to better the relationship between the executive and the legislature. Please stay with us.